talk about this, and whether I should or whether I shouldn't, and how much of it should be, and at what point does it stop? And I'm like, there's been 7 acid attacks in London this week or something. Like, do I then start talking about all of them? And then my content is like talking about all the horrible things that happen in the world. And someone who's like nearby in Manchester is like, I'm going through a shit time at the moment. One of my family friends was affected. And now all Alfie's doing talk about it. I thought I was going to step out of this bubble that I'm in of my world.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Hi, can you hear me? Where's my video?
Just here.
Ah. Hi.
Ah, hi.
You've got one in the room.
It's quite. It is what it is. I love your room. You got the
Yeah, one corner is really clean, but over there is a mess. So you're positioned in this direction for a reason.
It makes you feel better.
Absolutely. It's like the sort of Facebook snapshot of my life. Just like, yeah, everything's fine. And then it's just gin bottles and pizza boxes over there in the corner.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I get a bit suspicious when people on Instagram and doing this and that, saying that they're having a fantastic life and, you know, trying to paint this perfect image.
All lies. It's all lies.
Yeah,
all sociopaths.
Yeah, why are you trying to pretend to be putting all that effort into pretend to be a perfect person? Because it's just...
Maybe there are just some really perfect people out there, though, Marvin.
I know. I mean, I'm looking at one. Way.
Hey. You've been indoors too long.
A little bit. You can look at the room. I've been...
That was empty in the beginning of May.
Yeah.
Not even May yet. Oh my word! I've gone mad. It's just madness. Is this are you doing instant laughs online at the moment?
No. It's me. It's a different brand. So I mean, Instant Laughs is a comedy club doing this and that, but this is going to be my own thing. And so I'm going to call this podcast the Marvins World. That's what I'm going to call it.
Marvin. I like it. That's good.
I think it suits me quite well from what you've seen.
Yeah, it does. Just a real snapshot into Marvin's chaotic world. I'm like looking at you, but I'm also desperately trying to read what's on your wall, and like I'm so nosy. Like this is
really. I haven't got much to hide, but I mean, you can read some of them if you want.
It's like an escape room. That's the vibe I'm getting. Oh, you're so. This is lovely. Oh, yeah. I need to have more positive things on my wall, not just like of affirmations to keep me going. But instead, I just use coffee. So.
And there's less work. It's more efficient. I mean, who says have an exercise routine? If you could just eat one tablet and then be a 6-pack, I think all of us would take it.
Absolutely, but my problem is I'd overeat those tablets. just get fat off ab tablets. But yeah, I like this idea of a podcast. Is it your first podcast?
No, I've done last week I did about 8 or 9.
What?
Well, I did about 7 actually, and then I'm I'm getting the artwork soon, and once I get the artwork started, then I'll start editing it and putting it up. To be honest, I like the podcast. I like watching podcasts because you learn a lot from them. Mm-hmm. You learn a lot more from watching a podcast than maybe watching a YouTube tutorial on certain things. You can maybe learn more from just watching someone who's an expert in that field. Yeah,
I listen to The Dollop a lot. I love that one. The Dollop. It's like it's going to make me sound sad, but it's like an American history podcast. But it's like it's better than it sounds.
May I have a look? And let's have a look. So, and I'll go on the screen. The Dollop podcast.
Yeah. It's like, and it's got a bit of like improv in, and it's got, it's just one guy telling another guy about really deep dives into particular characters and history, but past all the things we know about them and the real truth. And it's some really, really mental stories from like around the world. And yeah, more I'm talking, the more sad I sound.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to tell me a bit more. Let me do it. Where's the button? Yeah, sharing the screen, and then I will. So, what can you see now that I've shared the screen?
Nothing different. Maybe I just need to go into. No, I just see this. I just see you and I. Wait.
Oh, now you can. Now you
can. Speeches.
Okay. So.
That's it.
You're listening to the dialogue.
This is like someone reading your diary. No. Didn't realise until just now. This little podcast.
It's not right so far for sure, but just keep going. You'll find it.
This is a bilingual American history podcast. Each week,
It's not bilingual.
You read a story from American history to my friend
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about.
Yeah.
We nailed it.
So who are the main characters in this podcast?
It's our best pandemic one.
Do they interview people, or they just talk about random things?
You've
got Dave and he
put a lot of pressure on me.
What are you talking about?
Story that he's researched.
Right.
And then Gareth,
Pressure on me.
who arguably is the funny one, then reacts to
You
it.
thought about that?
Dave does try.
Yeah, the litany of complaints that I could have.
It's a bit funny, isn't it? Sometimes when someone
your
tries
way.
too hard to be funny, or they try too hard to get people to like him, and they worry too much, it often has the reverse effect.
It's very simple. You've
Yeah,
just
which is Dave.
put
I think we all know about trying too hard to be funny.
things that you think are cool to mention. That of course you feel pressure because you always have to come up with 3 things. Mine's just stayed the same the whole time.
Is it just American history or just anything?
No, but
American history to start with.
I'm Garrett.
When they do tours around the place, they do history from those places.
Yeah, no,
There's a UK one as
it's
well.
definitely easy to show up with no knowledge of what's going on.
But I love it. That's one of my faves. But I'm a bit of a tunnel vision sort of podcast listener. Like I get one that I like, and then I'll just listen to all of it, and then finish it and move on. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
No. That's I like, since the lockdowns happened, it's given me more free time, and that's what I've been doing. I've been watching a hell of a lot of podcasts and like different things, like, and I feel like you learn. The podcasts are amazing, like especially with the right people. If the podcast is really good and it delivers a good service, there are a lot of great podcasts out there, but I feel. And the comedy circuit, there's so many of them.
There are so many.
I get the feeling with some of them, they just do it for the sake of doing it, and they're not thinking about whether they're giving anything valuable or not, or what they want to provide.
Like the comedy circuit, especially like the amateur or semi-pro circuit, is just really panicking about losing time. And losing traction. So I think people are just doing whatever they can to still have some sort of output. And we'll see how that works, really. I think I'm trying to make videos, but I hate it. I can't do it. And, trying to write. But yeah, I think lockdown is like pushing people from the circuit into different avenues that they probably wouldn't have got round to or would have thought better of normally.
No, I agree I think doing but I do feel there is some things, like in regards to the video things, I'm thinking of one thing I do have an idea of is like we're producing regular content, and I've seen that a few people on TikTok, and it's good maybe you work with each other. Like in American Pie, this is not a good analogy to refer to, but I'll refer to it anyway, just to make it easier. They want it to all get laid, right?
Yeah.
And they said, like, when you go into a gym, you need someone to spot you. I feel like with sort of the video and the writing, if you get someone to spot you, then it'll motivate you a lot more than if you didn't.
Yeah, and we're not, as a group, people who perform comedy, like whether it's like for the first time or you've been doing it for years, I think stand-up's a really interesting, like, creative field, because we're not naturally group workers. We don't, you know, we're a bit sort of lone animals in the sort of creative world, and you know, this is going to hopefully push a few people to sort of more people to try working together, collaboration. But it's really interesting to see what people are doing. It's panicking sometimes. I'm like, oh, I need to be doing more, or I need to try something different, or but yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out the other side of this, if anything does.
You don't think anything will?
Scary though, because, you know, I love comedy because I love live stand-up. Like, I love watching it, I love performing it. I run a night, and I like sort of like training the audience, stuff like that. And just the idea, everything that makes that a good night, packing people in, you know, wedging all in together and sharing a laugh and being part of something really close and small, is not going to come back for quite a long time. So that's the worry.
There is always something you can do though. I do feel, yeah, as you said, we got to think outside the box. I've got the hecklers thing that I'm doing this Sunday.
Yeah.
Which would be quite fun. So
I remember that one because I live in Bristol now, so I do gigs around here. But yeah, instant laughs and the hecklers nights were always good crack. But always something weird was happening at those nights. But yeah, I don't think you're a stranger to thinking outside the box. But I'm a bit of a traditionalist. You know, I like comedy because of what it is. You know, and that's the main cause of stress at the moment, because I'm like, oh, it's changing, this lovely little hobby and, you know, thing that I do is like changing to something that I don't know anymore, and it's like, what will it be? What will I be any good at it when it sort of decides what it is? So yeah, I think there's a lot of worry about thinking outside the box, definitely. For me, maybe just for me.
Worry?
Yeah. Well, I'm a stresser, I'm an overthinker, and yeah, I like to know what it's going to be like. I like to forward plan, so I'm going to have to let that go over the next few months. But I don't know, maybe when I get used to making some more videos, and maybe if one of them becomes funny, that'll be a good start, if I can make something funny.
Oh no, I did like one of them. I saw some video of like you're putting water back in or something. You did some water thing with your mum. I don't know, that looked quite good.
That was all right. I've got a few more. I'm just going to do it. I think, you know, really the best comedians, live comedians, roll with whatever an audience throws at them, and whatever the night throws at them. And, you know, and that's something really special to see, like, and to be witness to. And I think maybe this whole shutdown and change of the scene might push me more into that. You just have to roll with what happens. Yeah, certainly rereading all of my stand-up comedy books, so I'll certainly know a lot.
So when you're studying like a book and something, I've got the Logan Murray and some of these Sally Holloway writing books, but I just, it's not that they're bad, I haven't found any use for them. I don't think it just hasn't worked for me so far. But what I found more useful is doing the Angel Comedy writing workshops.
Yeah.
And then the, what's it called, Granier Maguire's workshop, and then I can ask them questions and get some feedback. Also, the thing I find with books, yeah, I don't work well unless I I need things to keep me in check for me to learn things.
Right.
The mind will.
A student just wandering off midway through. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to do something like that. Otherwise, I'm not going to learn much.
No, I'm like, my like creative process. I was trying to find another way not to say creative process because it sounds so wanky, but is super slow and private. So with the books, like, you know, the Logan Murray started stand-up comedy, with all the activities that it does, I work pretty well with those. But when I'm in like a group setting, like, or a group course, and you just have to produce and sort of react, I always panic a little bit. So I think we're the opposite there. I think maybe I'm more bookish, which is great for stand-up comedy. So
it's maybe less cumbersome.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, I think so. I did one course online though. I did Kyle Wallace's Everything But the Gags online workshop.
What's that?
It was amazing, actually. It was all about stagecraft, because he's obviously a MC and a comedian and a magician, and he's, you know, got all these degrees in psychology, and, you know, like he's like a mind bender. So it's all about what you can control before you even get on stage, or before you even tell your first joke. So, you know, what you have to observe, what you have to think about yourself and your material, you know, what you're bringing. Are there any like discrepancies or, you know, inconsistencies between, you know, how you look and what you say and what you want them to believe, and, you know, how you get the audience to just, you know, come along with you whilst you're telling your jokes, and so you don't distract them without meaning to. And that was really interesting. Like, and, you know, it's like, it was helpful, but also it's just super interesting. So,
So I don't really know much. I mean, one thing that I know that he's been a comic for a while. I know he's a magician, and I remember him gigging for a while in maybe 2016, 2017, and then he seemed to tail off a bit and just focus on doing his night. And what does he do? Is he just a corporate magician? Does he spend most of the time doing private comedy gigs? Was he mostly I'm not sure what he is.
So he's been a performer in one form or another, like a paid professional performer, since, you know, mid-80s, and in all different guises. And I think he always uses comedy in his magic, and, you know, magic in his comedy. He runs his nights, but he also does like professional, you know, comedy magic, and also some really dark stuff as well. He does some like really like
burlesque,
which I would love to see. But he knows his stuff, you know, like he knows what other courses are teaching and what they're not, and he just sort of doesn't overlap with them. But I thought it was great. So that was like one useful day out of all of my lockdown days. The rest I'm just rolling around in my flat wondering about the future. Super healthy.
Are you staying with your parents?
No, I'm in the flat on my own.
Well, yeah, I'm talking. Well, you got me for company.
Yeah, I know. Are you real? I don't know. Sometimes I'm like talking to people on like Zoom or FaceTime, and I'm just like, what happens if this is like, you know, maybe there's no one human out there anymore, and this is just like a video recording of a conversation I had like 20 years ago, and I'm just repeating the bits that I know I have to say, and they're just repeating the bits they have to say. But that's usually when I've had quite a lot of gin. So,
you know, we often question what some like the Romans and the Greeks and certain things in the past, like the Egyptians, that they used to.
You're just listing people from the past.
And I'm wondering what are people going to think of, like, you know, and if we go 200 years in the future and like we're in spaceships all the time, you know, Star Trek becomes a reality.
Optimistic.
What are they going to think of, like, if they see things like a... sorry, I shouldn't say this, but if they get things like, I don't know, they see porn or dick pics, what are they going to...
That's really what that's going to be their time team. Like, they dig up via data, you know, a fragment of a picture, and then they sort of like extrapolate it to the full dick pic. And they're like, this was a 21st century dick pic. Yeah, maybe, no. I think maybe 200 years from now, spaceships or no, people will still be sending each other pictures of their genitals. So I don't think we have to worry. But I mean, I've never thought about that before, and I wasn't expecting where that was going, Marvin. You're like Egyptians, Romans, spaceships, willies. I was like, this is so. Are you getting out enough? Are you getting your 1 hour out a day, Marvin?
That sounds like someone would, like a psychologist would say to someone.
I'm just checking in. You getting out? I sometimes run up the hill by my house and then scream and then run back down again, and that helps. That helps a lot.
Thank you. Now, how much do I have to pay for your services?
It's all free. I mean, I can't possibly make any money these days. So.
When there's a will, there's a way, you know. Maybe you could, I don't know.
Well,
podcast, get people to download the Patreon.
Yeah, no, I'm furloughed at the moment because my job is a nanny. So it's difficult to nanny a child at 2 meters. I mean, you have to be pretty close to that child to be like, don't set yourself on fire. At 2 meters, they're like, we can do whatever we want. So you can't do anything. So there's not really any need for us at the moment. So most nannies and childcare providers are just loving life at home. Right.
So did you get into that situation where you were wearing a mask, the kids on a bike, and they're wearing a mask as well? Did you hold them like a leash or something, like a dog? No, I've seen it with like some owners. They got something that attaches them to the dog so they don't lose track. We got the babies as well. Is that what you did with the kids?
That would fall into negligence. I think it was like I came home without the child. I was like, it's all right. They're somewhere up the road. I can see them on my phone. But I just found it, you know, because I worked for a few families, it was just impossible to balance like being able like to safely work and make sure I wasn't, you know, moving things around. But the weirdest bit was not letting kids panic, not telling them what was going on, but also trying to like manage parental panic. And they're just sort of like slowly panicking about having to look after their own children. I'm just like, no, this can't be happening, no. And we're just sort of waving at the window like, good luck, goodbye, see you in 6 months. Oh, it's quite nice not to be working, but obviously stressful at the same time.
But did you get any situation where it's like Lord Sugar, you go to the boardroom and the parents are like, right, sweetheart, you're finished for a while because of Corona?
Sweetheart. I'm not sure how I would react if someone called me sweetheart in any situation.
Sweetheart.
My one was weird because I was actually like living with the family. I had one family sort of left when lockdown was about to be put in, and they all ran away to the countryside and I went with them. And then they were just like, right, well, you're just going to have to stay here. And I was like, can't I go home? And they were like, no, it's not safe to go home. And, you know, but we will be sort of paying you fully. I was like, that's kidnapping. If you're not paying me, then I can't leave. It's kidnapping. So we had to have a long discussion about kidnapping. And then when they realized it was kidnapping, I was allowed to go home. They were like, oh, God, it's kidnapping. I was like, yeah, yes, it is. And so now I'm furloughed. So.
What's it like sort of being a nanny as a whole? I mean, I've seen Outnumbered, and like they say some funny things, so you must get a lot of those moments.
It's like your only reference for children.
Well, that's my only reference for being a nanny.
All right. I was like, God, Marvin, leave that room. There are real children on the outside. Wait, no, don't leave the room looking for children or nannies. I mean, gosh. Nannying, it's great. I mean, it's just mostly playing in parks, calming down parents, baking. I mean, it's the best job.
Well, hold on. So it's going to parks,
Yeah.
it's calming down parents, and it's baking. So you've mixed British Bake Off with, I don't know, David Attenborough in Nature,
Very
and
much
mixed being a psychologist, being Tony Soprano psychologist.
That's a very accurate combination of skills there for nannying. Yeah, you've just got to be like part therapist, part clown. And I think comedy is the same, really, isn't it? Like you just like part clown, part...
I disagree. I think it's the other way around, like in terms of like a lot of comics. You know, you've seen the circuit, you know, there's some lovely people in there, there's some
dark characters.
And then there's people that need a helping hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
you don't get the balance. If it's more therapy than clown, or it's more clown than therapy, then you're like,
I get the feeling that sometimes when comics go on stage and they're trying to talk about deep topics, it's not they're actually trying to be funny. It's more like they've not spoken to anyone in a week. They're unemployed and they need to let out their rubbish out on people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you get for a free night.
Is that what you say after each sort of comic that does that bombs and say, right, that's what you get for free night?
You get what you pay for, so you're welcome. Yeah, it's especially the open mic circuit obviously attracts a lot of different personalities, and you've got to be a little bit mad to try comedy in the first place. Like, it's such a weird thing to want to do, like stand up in front of, you know, drunk students and like try and talk about things. You know, it's a weird thing. But it's a bit like riding a bike, isn't it? Once you sort of find your balance.
It's not just that. I feel like the lifestyle of a comedian is quite damaging to your health and different things. And because like
it can be, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
no, because you're spending most of your evenings like going up and making people laugh, and then Casey dying on stage, whilst other people are going out having fun. And, like, they're enjoying themselves whilst you know, you most of them people have jobs in the mornings and to the evenings, and then they have to come out and do another stuff as well. So it's a bit in that way, it's not like every other person's life. And like, yeah, I mean, if the logic of the situation is, why would someone get up 6 or 7 times a week trying to make people laugh, and then if it goes badly, they still get up and do it? It's a bit like being in a what's it called, a toxic relationship, but still going after it. It's a bit like, what's it called? Oh, my name is Bob. Sarah, she's not nice to me. She bullies me. She makes fun of me, but she's really fit, man. And like, going back there.
I think you're giving a window into your relationship with comedy there, Mark.
No. I just like comedy. I like making people laugh. There's not really anything more than that. That's it's the best feeling in the world, and that's why I do it. There's not really anything else for why I do it, and I will never stop doing it, and that's it.
I think so. There is something a bit magical, really. When you've got everyone laughing, you have a really good night. It's incredible, really. Like it's that group reaction. It's like that, like live, immediate response that is what I love about it. Which is why I think like doing things online or doing online gigs, and it's just not quite. You know, I don't get my reward from it, if that makes any sense. It's not as, you know, it's perhaps more altruistic. Like I'm getting less feedback and response and that sort of feeling of like, oh, this is great. And it's strange. So I'm trying. I've done a couple of online gigs and they were fine, but not as fun. You know, so Maybe that's the toxic side of the relationship. Maybe I'm entering into a new toxic relationship with comedy now by having to do everything online.
Yeah.
Back.
Different stage of the relationship, isn't it? Now.
Oh, we're on breakup stage. We're about to be divorced. No, I'll get back into it. As soon as we're allowed out in groups, I'll be luring people back into the pub.
Now you've just put yourself in a situation where you're saying like you're like what's it called? I don't know. What's the situation? You know, yeah, it's like when someone's.
This is your quick thinking MC in here, Marvin.
You haven't been a host for a while. So you have to see. I mean, I can send you pictures. No, what? No. Never mind. No, you haven't seen me MC for a while, and I've changed a little bit from then. But and I haven't MC for a while as well. That's true as well. But now I've forgotten what my train of thought.
Sorry. I think you were going to say I'm in some sort of toxic relationship or something like that. But I don't know. I think, what do you think the future of comedy is going to be then? What do you think?
Well, I know that a lot of places are going to close down.
Yeah.
I've seen that already, like with a lot of comedy clubs. One of the big ones, did you ever go to Angel?
Yeah. And the Bill Murray. That's
the Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I like Angel Comedy Club. I like what they do for comedy, but I have a feeling that they're probably going to close down for the reason that I remember when they did the Kickstarter campaign, where it was for £20,000, £40,000. It took them maybe months to get to that stage. Yeah. And now they say they're going to need £6,000 every month. And with people not having much money, it's going to be difficult. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to be realistic here.
Yeah, I had such a good club as well, and they give like real boosts to people just on the cusp of, stepping into comedy full time, or at least stepping into that sort of scary world of, doing your own show. So yeah, I hope I'll have a little look online and see if they've got a crowdfunding thing, and I'll put some up there. Yeah, they're a special institution because, it's very much like by the people for the people, and those people are comedians. So it's okay. Oh, that's sad. Lots of pubs, lots of cafes, places where you can get free nights and open mic nights and, really relaxed spaces are also going to struggle. So it is, it's worrying, but that's my bad habit. I always say something negative and then I say, but. That's a nanny habit. So if you try to say something negative and you say, but, and then you put something positive on the end, and then I was just like,
excuse me, is that a pullback reveal joke you're going to do?
No surprise jokes. No.
Sure. Is this not some prank video? This looks like, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where that doorway behind you looks like someone's gonna, I've seen YouTube videos with pranks.
Don't say that, Marvin. I live on my own. I can't be thinking that someone's behind that door. That is terrifying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Great. That's great. So now I'm gonna have to just sit with you facing that way. Brilliant. The only place I'm allowed to go is now terrifying. My home. I'm gonna have to check in the cupboards, under the beds, behind doors.
Oh, come on! It's good. It's
something to do.
You said you got nothing to do.
Yeah. So now I'll stay. Fear of invaders. Brilliant. I'm on the second floor. It's all right.
Yes.
We'll have to get through the whole bottom floor first. So.
Exactly. So that's a positive.
And I can hear all of their arguments downstairs, so I'm pretty sure I could hear like an intruder. So.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I love their arguments. I'm living for them. Oh my gosh. I just sit by the fireplace and listen to them.
Are you writing it down as a notepad? You're going to test it as material at gigs?
Oh, it's far too miserable for gig material, but the drama downstairs is Like, this is what I interpret as community living, just getting really involved in other people's arguments. I'm super invested.
It's a bit like, I've seen that Friends episode where Ross and Phoebe try and date this couple who are split up, and they start taking sides of the people they're with, and they'll say, oh, this guy does this, oh, she does this, and then it turns out they both get together again, and then Ross and Phoebe say, oh yeah, they do those things.
My memory of all things Friends just merges into one soupy sort of episode. So I'm getting like flashes of memory for that. But this couple downstairs it's just all based around like really sort of mundane things. But I've chosen my side, and as soon as I see them in real life, I'm just gonna like lay it out for them. It's gonna be like, listen, he doesn't wash up enough. You do whine. You are quite nasal when you whine. He's right about that. And also, maybe you could say sorry more. That's how I'm going to do it. It's going to be great.
We'll charge them for the solution.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming they'll give me all their thank yous for free, but maybe they'll pay me for getting weirdly involved. There's also a lass up the road that leans out of her window and sings to the street.
That just sounds like someone very lonely. Yeah,
she can't really sing either. It's just sort of really awkward. The whole street like, yay! And then she just keeps going. And it's really off tune.
Why are you encouraging it there? Just put your headphones on. Then you don't need to listen.
Because maybe she is lonely. She usually comes after the NHS clap. So I think it's like her thank you to the NHS. So it's like, you can't clap for the NHS and then boo someone up the street. It's not the same community.
Oh, okay, fair. So she knows she's bad, but she's just taking advantage to sing.
Possibly. It's making it difficult to support everyone on the street. But Bristol's a lovely place, so everyone's...
Well, for what reasons is it a lovely place?
Everyone's really nice. It sort of reminds me of the Northeast where I grew up, but like with more sunshine. They talk to you. They like always want to know your business, but they've just got a good sense of good crack down here as well. Like not the drug, just good banner, and plenty of crack as well. I just love it. It's the best place. And I think after coming out of London, someone wanting to talk to you on the street who wasn't like dangerously mentally ill was really nice relief. I was like, oh, I'll stay. I will stay in Bristol. And I have.
So what made you go to Bristol?
I followed a boy. To Bristol.
How are you making yourself sound in a funny position? You followed a boy.
Yeah, not in a stalkery way, just in a misguided way. And now I'm in a flat on my own. So that didn't go well. But the bright side is Bristol's the best place I've lived. So it was worth it for that. And I got loads of... And the comedy here is actually really, really good.
Oh, better per se than London.
I'm not going to start that argument, Marvin. Don't lure me into that.
Okay.
It was some sort of clickbait on your podcast, thank you, like Bristol versus London comedy. It's different. Like the first gig I did down here after moving, I was a bit like, oh no. Like this, it went on till like past midnight. There was like 20 odd acts, rambly, mad. There were people in the bar shouting, it was just really, really awful. And I thought, oh, bugger. And, but I think that was just the one gig that I went to, and all the other ones here are run by people who love it and who perform. It's a small community. They all sort of help each other out, and lift each other up. And it's really weird. like, where are the rivalries? Who hates who? And they're like, no.
So what is it? Okay, so this is a question. Why is it in certain places there's such a warmer community than London does have a... Okay, I don't really care though, because I don't plan on being in London for much longer. I'm moving away. So
Man of mystery. You got your coats ready to go, I see. Just grab a few.
No.
Out you go into the wild.
Yeah, maybe I'll do comedy for deers. At least they won't heckle.
Yeah, but they can run pretty fast. So you're like, come back.
Yeah, it's not the. Yeah, it's no. I think maybe in places like London and maybe LA and New York, they're very competitive, and there's a big prize at the end. So it encourages people's sinister sides as well as maybe their best side.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also progression perhaps in London and like LA and New York, I would assume, for some people can be quite swift. Like if you're the right person, performing at the right places, you know, doing the right sort of comedy and you're good, you can go from completely new to, you know, semi-pro, pro, or even something else in the arts world pretty fast. And I think that creates a feeling of some people have been either left behind or needing to have to work harder, or, you know, things just move differently in London. I also think there's so many gigs in London as well that you can often go quite a few gigs without seeing the same people, especially if you're doing lots of different gigs. So whereas I think in the smaller circuits, you see the same people. So if you're a prat, you're just not going to get on any bills, you know. And if you climb over someone to get a gig, it's just to get a paid 10 spot, not to get a TV deal. So that makes you a twat. You know, like there's less rewards for bad behaviour, I guess is what I'm saying, and more incentive to work, you know, to lift other people up and to give them a shot. Like my night, we have a paid opener and closer, and so we try and choose people that are for the openers that are just on the cusp of that, you know, just on the cusp of having like really solid opener set, get them in, and it's a really nice audience. So so that's what we do. And then we have like spots in the middle for people that just have a polished but new 10 set, you know. So and there's other gigs that run competitions, but they're quite friendly. There's loads of writing groups set up by comics, or there's loads of female. There's a good one called the Fanny Pack, which is for female identifying comedians. Don't laugh at it. Well, I guess it is funny, but you know, we do stuff together, and we share opportunities and, you know, suggest people for different things. So I was a bit overwhelmed by it when I got in. I was just like, there's got to be, we're just waiting for the drop, you know, like waiting for like, this is a cult and I've just been lured in and they're gonna like, you know, harvest my organs or something when I get comfortable. But actually it's just really nice.
What's for your head, Eva? What's going? There's a journey there.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just my deeply, you know, suspicious nature of anything like unearned kindness, but which is a great trait as a nanny. But it's just a chilled, friendly circuit, and I've got a lot of love for it. And it's also a good circuit. There's some acts on in Bristol in the southwest that, you know, are fab, are just like hilarious, and some really, really talented people. So
yeah, I find it funny with comedy as a whole. Like even when I was in America, in different places, and like traveling to different scenes, it like the amount you gig doesn't. When I first started out and I was trying to research some comics, I used to always say, gig as much as you can. But, you know, it doesn't really, I think what they really mean is go on your own journey and you'll figure it out. Rather than, and the thing is, I've seen a lot of comics who have maybe been gigging for this time and that time, and they're just amazing already. And it's an interesting thing. I feel with comedy, you've got to, well, with anything, you've got to look at things and see if you're gaining anything from it or if you're learning. You have to be, because you can get stuck in the same place for a while. So it's...
Yeah, I get guilty of that. I am a bit of a perfectionist. So if I think something isn't going to work, I won't do it until I think it's going to work. So rather than like bringing something and like trying it out and then improving on it, I'll just keep writing it or holding it back, rewriting it, you know, and that's wasted time, really. So I could do 40 gigs and essentially it's the same gig, because if I do the same stuff, you know, I'm not pushing what I need in that 40 gigs, which is to be a bit braver. Whereas, you know, other people doing those 40 gigs, it might be just the confidence of doing different rooms or different places. So they could, you know, they're pushing it in a different way. Yeah, I think it's not about the amount of gigs. You see a lot of people who are like, right, when I get to 200 or 300 or 400 gigs, and yeah, obviously, if you've done like 400, 500 gigs, you're going to be improved, definitely. But if you're not addressing and tackling the things that hold you back individually, then that's like, you've got a cap on your improvement. And I think running a night helped me see that, helped me sort of address that a little bit more, because we've got like a commitment to the night, really, to improve yourself. You know, it's a sort of, that's your baby, that's your thing that you're presenting to the world. So you've got to be better for that night. So yeah, I think, I don't even know how many gigs I've done now. I've done a lot. Well, not a lot. But for me, I always thought I'd stop before I got to this point. But the more you do, the less likely you are to give up. I think it's going to be constant.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens in comedy, because there's a lot of comics that I've known that have been doing comedy for maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 years, and they're still doing it. So it's a bit, I feel, yeah, I don't know, it's a very addictive thing, comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen in comedy in the next 10 years or so?
Oh, don't stress me out. I started this conversation stressing out about that. I'm not going to go full circle, but maybe making like videos and putting more online content out there will help me like just release the control of it a little bit, you know, like just put it out there, it's done, it's not perfect, but it's something, and then move on to the next one, you know. So that's my goal, way of improving somehow.
Yeah, I wanted to point some. Yeah, that sounds good. Have you seen the True Geordie podcast?
True Geordie podcast? No.
I like it. It's a good podcast. He was inspired by Joe Rogan, but he's a pretty good interviewer himself. And he's interviewed people like Robbie Williams, Conor McGregor's coach. He's interviewed, who else is there? Michael Bisping, who's very successful. He's interviewed Tyson Fury.
I'd love to talk to Tyson Fury. I'd love it. Like, that is somebody who you wouldn't be able to anticipate what he was going to say. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he couldn't string a sentence together, but also if he like knew all the works of Plato. Like, there's just you can't anticipate what that man would say. I'm a little obsessed with him.
You like Tyson Fury? You're a big fan of him.
Fan is different. Like, I just think he's fascinating and off the wall and like a really interesting character. Like, his personality is, for what we see, it's just really different.
Tell you what, let me show you something. I'll show you with Tyson Fury. Let me, 1 second. Let me show you. So this is the True Geordie podcast. Tyson Fury trying stand up. He did. He tried.
No.
He did. Daniel Sloss, I think, wrote his comedy. Is it here? There was a little. He did.
I will find it.
Here it. No, okay. It was. I need to find it somewhere. But Daniel Sloss effectively gave him some tips and taught him, and then he went up on the stage and did stand-up comedy in front of 10,000. Here it is. Here it is. 2012.
God.
Let me see if it's there. Ah, here we go. So I'll show you a bit of it, and you let me know what you think.
I'm gonna go and watch it.
You know what? It's been good to. I've really enjoyed doing the podcast, and I like watching them. You learn a lot from just talking to different people, and I just learn. It's good to see people's life stories or their opinions and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what. If you're interested in that, then this is a great way of doing it. I'm so excited. I'm just like yes, Tyson.
I'm a big fan of
Yeah,
him.
I got Tyson. We went about a week and a half ago, and we started work together. And basically, yeah, this is what we got up to.
I just want to see you stand.
And then I like Tony Bellew as well.
We're in Caravan Park just outside of Manchester, and we're just about to meet Tyson Fury. I don't know how funny he's going to be, because I developed comedy as a way of getting out of fights, and I can't imagine this is a problem Tyson ever had. Jesus. How you doing?
I'm okay, how are you?
Of course. You're there.
I am.
The past 8 years have not been kind to Tyson.
An absolute monster. I'd like to go meet Tyson's.
Go to the stand up.
What he's like.
Okay, you want me to go
outside,
forward, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it now.
I mean, as much as I've enjoyed watching Daniel
It makes me laugh.
try not to be freaked out by Tyson's family. His terrifying family.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tyson Fury, or as the doctors call me, fucking hell, get this man. Oh, fucking
Oh,
Yeah, just keep going, but just tell us, do it like you're not performing it. You're telling your mate.
I need to just practice a bit more, go through it, run it through like we're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
And apart from everything's great.
Yeah, cool.
oh.
Which one's the bigger?
Okay, it's so.
I'll find it. Anything Tyson related, I can find.
What? Yeah, I like him. He's very entertaining to watch, and he's yeah. And I like Tony Bellew too, and I like Michael Bisping, Conor McGregor.
I think the thing about Tyson Fury is he's a showman, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's a performer as well as a boxer. So I think boxing is just his way of performing, if that makes any sense. So
Tyson Fury,
luckily,
funny moments. That would make you happy. I like the bit where he did the Batman thing.
Like, his.
I'm gonna show you a hit when it's time. Yeah, I want it now. I'm gonna show you a hit. Put one right there, you big shit. I'm gonna show you December the 1st. It bounce off you. They can't click that button. Boom. They can't click that button and see it come December the 1st. You think it's a game, D.I.? Because if I hit you right now, I'm gonna punch your face in. I don't play games, especially not with bums like you. You got power on you. You think you can hit a bit? Let me feel it. Let me feel that power, boy.
Okay, Tyson, we're coming off the air now, so you've done your cell.
No, I mean, Tyson Fury is an incredibly clever man, and he's a gypsy as well. I mean, he hasn't beaten the first fight, and he tried to scare him, he tried to do different things, but it's not going to work. If he hell have no fear like Tyson Fury.
It's like, it's weird because I keep trying to move the screen to see like the next video I want to watch, and I forget it's your screen. So I was like, I'll just go to a little down the YouTube rabbit hole, which is how I'm spending my lockdown days.
It's I like him. I like what's his face? I like Tony Bellew too. He's quite funny. I'll show you the League. Do you watch League of Their Own?
No.
And
I'm finding a lot of things to fill my time now. I was like, right, I'll go on a sort of wave of Tyson Fury videos, and then we'll listen to all these Geordie podcasts. And then, I mean, I've basically watched everything on Netflix now, so
Could you send me the podcasts like that you find interesting?
Yeah.
Just have a look, and I'll send you ones that I find interesting.
All right, but no judging me. They're most of them are informative.
I don't really judge anyone. I don't think, and either way, it doesn't really. I don't think it really matters what anyone thinks of you. Either way.
That's a healthy way of looking at it. I think eventually I'll get there.
No, but it's I think it's a big thing because it stops you from doing things.
Yeah, it does, and it's definitely been a sort of slowed my comedy down, especially in the first couple of years. Now I'm getting to the stage where I care less. I'm getting better. So
one of the toughest guys I've ever met. We've got Tony Bellew back. For more pain. Freddie Laura Woods, great broadcaster.
He's
Maybe you should put the Ron seal down and maybe I will take a
like Tony Bellew. He's a very funny boxer too.
Oh yeah.
punches to the head and being able to crack a joke or connect it.
That might be the secret. You never know.
And yeah, maybe a few more of us need a few jabs to the temple.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I know there's a good number of them that are completely hooked on drugs, and so
Marvin podcast throwing shade and accusations around me.
No, it's the truth, but I don't really. That's their life, you can tell. But they do whatever they want to do. So if someone's decided to do that, then I don't think if you said being funny was getting your head kicked in every day of the week, most would take it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's the other side of like this idea that comedy, you have to be sort of damaged in a way to be funny, or you have to. It's a response to something in your life, and I think it stops a lot of people on the circuit from like improving themselves as people, or seeking help, or like going to or become happier. Because there's this sort of fallacy that if you're happy you can't be funny, or if you're balanced you can't be funny, and
yeah, I agree.
I
Well,
think
to be honest, this has been a fun chat. It's been entertaining so far. If either of us was too held back and too nice, too polite, too sort of normal, if it was a boring podcast.
Don't look me into you. Normal. I'm not living in some sort of cave. What is this?
It's a league of their own. I'm showing you Tony Bellew. Look.
Just keep slapping up Cameron.
The king of the regime.
Look at that collar. I do love an embroidered collar.
You've given up the sport.
Fading before it was cool.
Have you seen this program?
I'm not a football fan, so it wouldn't be on the top of my list.
I like Tony Bellew. He's
I just look at this and I think, what a waste of money. What a huge waste of money.
It's not okay. You're not up here. You're down there saying it's okay.
He's scared of heights. He's a boxer. Okay, I'll let you. Okay, I'll show you what was. So he's scared of heights. So what they did, they put him on this plane where they're going up in the sky all day.
Why am I going up in one of those?
I don't like heights. I don't like heights either.
Sounds like a fucking lawnmower. Sounds like an house-battered lawnmower. I actually can say no.
I'd love a Liverpool like that.
We just.
I feel like your podcast should be YouTube with Marvin.
Okay. I'll probably get done for what's it called?
Copyright.
Yeah, so I'll get off from there. Wait a second.
Tyson Fury as a guest on your podcast just because we've watched Tyson Fury's joke.
it would never happen. But well, actually, no, I don't know what would happen. But I do like Tony Bennett, and I do like Tyson Fury. So.
That would be an interesting podcast to see you interviewing them. They'd just be like, "What are you on about?" Just like, and then in the future, when we're all in spaceships, they'd be like, "What?"
Let's see what happens. I tell you what, I'll make sure I'll invite you in if I ever interview.
Better. Oh my gosh, that would make my life. I'd have peaked then. I don't have many goals.
So what is it that you like about him? The hairy chest or something? What is it?
Not an attraction. It's not like whoa, you know, he's not my particular type. It's just you just think he's good crack. Do you know what I mean? Like you think it wouldn't be a dull day. I'd like my ideal day out would be a trip around the zoo with Tyson Fury. Like just having an ice cream, chatting shit about animals. He'd probably know loads of facts about animals that would surprise me, and it would be amazing.
All right, I'll do the voice. So, lady, in the zoo.
That's your Terminator voice. That's your one accent, and you do it badly.
Lady, the zebra over there. Your hair is straight.
Marvin, you've killed my love for Tyson. The only love that I have left. You've taken it from me in quarantine.
That's a very detailed, for someone that doesn't find him attractive, that's a very detailed date.
It didn't say it was a date. It said it was a day out. You can go on a day out to the zoo with somebody in a plutonic way. Thank you.
It seems like, you know, I've seen films where they have fantasies about people they like and they go into like a yard and they do that. No, not yard. Wait, you know, they go into like a...
Your ideal date is going into a yard.
No. Don't be silly.
Yard.
Fine, I'll tell you what my ideal date is.
All right. I dread to think. Is it they sit in the front row whilst you do your Terminator accent to a crowd full of people?
No, I think my ideal date would probably be... what would it be?
I haven't thought about it.
It would, no, there wouldn't be an ideal set. It would just be a decent woman that I have good crap with. That's it. Really.
Like, ideal date, and then you were like, up here? No, too much. Just a human. Just a day out with a human that can talk. That would be great.
No, I have plenty of those, but like just.
And not a zoo that doesn't have elephants. It has to be one of the zoos with the elephants, like a proper zoo.
Okay, it would just be like a coffee date, and we'll like all the boxes would be ticked, and then that's it really. I'm quite easygoing, so it would just be.
That's just a date. That's not an ideal date. And again, the zoo with Tyson Fury has to have elephants. Isn't a date. That's just a day out. Okay,
so let's go through this. So he's someone that you'd love to meet. I'd love to have met Kobe Bryant for his work ethic, but he's dead now.
God. But I like the way I think about people I find interesting or admire. There's always like a scenario in my head of like, so like if I got to meet Picasso, you know, we'd be at the seaside, because then, you know, if he said anything shitty about women, I could just like throw him into the water. And you know, like if you met like Freud, you'd be like on a hot air balloon, you know, talking about stuff. You've got to think of like the situation where you meet these people, because you're never going to meet them. So you might as well make it interesting. And yes, Picasso, Freud, and Tyson Fury are all on the same level in my mind. Same level of conversation.
Same level? No,
yeah.
Maybe, but he is very, very technically gifted for such a tall man. He is amazing.
Technically gifted for a tall man.
No, for someone that to be a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you just
right, to be so hard to hit when there's so much space to hit.
Yeah,
pretty fantastic. He's 6'9". He was way taller and bigger than Deontay Wilder.
6'9". Oh, that's a good height. It's dangerous height. That's not healthy height. Oh, that's sad.
And then you got Deontay Wilder, who's 6'7".
Too tall. No one needs to be that tall.
Yeah.
I swing between. I'm sorry, I've had a lot of coffee and not a lot of social interaction. So it's a perfect storm, if you will. So what are you doing at the moment anyway? You podcast? Are you still, you're not MCing? Are you just gigging? Well, before this.
No, I was in France doing Philip Gaulier.
Oh, what?
Philip Gaulier.
Not a clue.
Oh, it's a theatre school in Étampes, France. So I was going there because a lot of clown acts went over there.
Oh, like
times when I screw up with things, that got much bigger laughs. Like in Edinburgh, a lot of the stuff I did got mediocre laughs and it was all right. But when I sort of fucked up with a few things, the laughs that I got were big. So I thought, why not make use of that? And that's why.
Yeah, physical comedy. Something I would find terrifying.
But that's it. And I was there for a bit, and then because of Corona, I've had to come back here.
Oh, that sucks. That's yeah, that's
So there's a lot of things. It's an innumerable amount of things. So I'm learning French. I'm studying that. I've got another. I'm doing sort of a sketch with Valerio Sara where we're going to do Macbeth. I'm going to do section 5, Act 5, and I'm going to do that in French, and he's going to do that in German, and we're going to do that as like a little sketch, and then on Zoom, and then I've got another podcast tomorrow with two people, Gattis Candice and another person. And Gattis, I'll tell you what, on Friday I had an amazing podcast with Chabon and Gattis Candice, and it was the most hilarious thing I've had in a while.
Great. You're obviously doing something well.
And then I'm doing the Heckler's show, and then what I want to do, there's another show that I want to put on as well. I want to put on regular weekly shows before the Corona thing gets better again. And I want to do that, and then there's loads of things I'm doing. I'm doing writing workshops. I'm watching a lot of podcasts. I'm uploading videos as well.
Scarily driven. Like I'm, drinking my body weight in gin. I'm sort of lying face down on the floor for a few hours, and then starting again.
Well, I think just find something that keeps you going. Find a focus, something that keeps you going. I think, what's it called? I'll never say it to anyone. I've not even revealed it to my parents yet. So I've got a very clear vision of what I want. And a lot of things have happened, and not just, I'm very clear on what I want. And there's always going to be work that I need to do. And I made a decision, that's my life, and that's it. So that's
wow. I mean, that's impressive. I was trying to look for a word. I was like, scary, like terrifying, impressive is probably the best one. Like, I think, goals. Because I think comedy, you can get quite easily comfortable. If you're getting the laughs, then you can stay in that space. And it almost feels like you lose if you try something to better yourself, and then you get less laughs. So you almost feel like you're going backwards. So it can be quite hard with a new thing or a new focus or even a new skill like clowning. There's a good clown workshop here in Bristol, but I've been told that everyone cries. So I'm just going to leave off on that for a while.
Good cry. Pain's good for you. It gives you fuel for it gives you energy to do things. You need to have goals, you need to have motivation, and if you have pain, then there's more fuel.
Ugh. God.
But what's the thing that I wanted to say? Forgotten now.
Your pain. Use your pain to fuel your comedy.
To be honest, though, I think that when I said that sentence, that could be construed in too many ways, which I don't want to say.
Yeah, I think some people use it the wrong way. But yeah. Oh, well, that's cool. I can see you as a clown.
Oh God! Normally, a lot of people would take it as an offence, but in this situation, I wouldn't.
I can see that. I can see sort of physical comedy and things like that. And I think that makes me think about, you were saying about number of gigs before. I think different people bring things to the stage before they even start comedy. So you might have 5 gigs. Say 2 people have 5 gigs each. But someone might have done like acting or, be in a band or, that gives them, so the first 5 gigs, they don't have to get used to the stage. They're just getting used to their new use of the stage. Whereas someone else who hasn't got that will still be getting over the fear of like the microphone or the idea of like tripping up onto the stage. I remember like my first like 10 gigs was like in the front of my head the whole time. I was like, I'm going to fall onto the stage, just getting on. So that was like, little hurdles. So I think different people start in different positions in comedy. So I think categorizing your success by gigs and volume of gigs is
stupid.
You're only going to get disappointed because you're going to go to a gig and someone's going to smash it and you're going to go, wow, you're amazing, how many gigs have you done? And they're like 10 and you're like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. And you always know when that happens because you see a more experienced comedian like try and control their facial expression really, really, really well, like,
oh, you've seen that a few times. 10
gigs. Oh,
that's not a bad thing though. If someone does well, I don't. Not the only problem I have is someone does well is if they stepped over someone to do it, or if they're a real slippery snake. That's all.
Ooh, slippery snake.
That's other than that, I'm not bothered.
None of that in Bristol.
I'm happy for people to do well.
None of that sort of meanness here down in the Bristol and the Southwest circuit. We're all non-snake-like. Well, maybe I've just met the non-snake-like people. Maybe there is. Maybe some of them are snakes and I just haven't realised.
Maybe you're a lion. Maybe you're lions.
Oh, God. Maybe I'm the snake. No, I don't know. Oh, well. It doesn't exist anymore. What is comedy? What was comedy?
I don't know.
I've got I just realised I've got Logan's book here.
Oh, ironic.
I know. Not ironic, just a coincidence. We were talking about it.
I'm gonna head off in about I think half an hour or 2 because I want to. I know what I want to give my. Let me just check because I got to see Valeria in about a bit, and I haven't fully remembered the lines for it in French yet.
I think you should go immediately and start learning Macbeth.
I'll show you. Let me see. Do I have it here with me? Yes, I've got it here. So this is the line.
You have everything you could need in your room. Like you've probably got like just maps of the world pinned up.
So I got this is Act 5, scene 5, and it's after his wife dies, and the scene goes. She would have died later anyway. And what I read here is go. Elle serait mort plus tard de tout facon. Cette nouvelle devait arriver un jour, demain et demain et demain.
Beautiful.
Les jours fluctuent lentement jusqu'à la fin des temps et chaque jour qui est déjà arrivé et plie l'imbécile beaucoup la plaide de l'amour. Dehors, brevi boogie, les vignes viennent de place qu'en c'est comment perfecteur que se pervonne et ce qui te pousse ce scène et qui n'est pas jamais entendu. La vie est une histoire racontée par un idiot plein de boue et de troubles émotionnels mais d'éprouver des scènes.
Shakespeare. I'm sure even Shakespeare has full stops. Like, come on. Bloody hell. Just rolls off the tongue.
This is the sentence. She would have died later anyway. The news was bound to come someday. Tomorrow. And tomorrow. And tomorrow. The days creep slowly along until the end of time. And every day that's already happened. It's taking fools that much closer to the death.
Half a minute, this one. That's the best scene. You're not even choosing the bit with the ghosts. You're not even choosing the bit with like, what about the washing hands scene? Surely that's appropriate.
Well, I just thought that I wanted to choose a short. I've been busy with a lot of different things, so I haven't.
That does sound like it.
No, because I haven't. No, there's no excuse. I just haven't sort of utilized my time well enough to remember it that well enough. So I just thought I'll pick something that was the shortest verbal text and remember it. And this is from the text of. I just made sure that I remember Macbeth's speech. I'm not bothered about the messenger.
Yeah, sod the messenger. Who cares about? He probably wasn't in French anyway. And to be honest, unless you're asking me where the swimming pool is or directions to the library, I'm not going to understand what you said. Understand? So,
Où sont les toilettes?
just down that creepy door around there.
Okay.
Past the stranger on the left. You've ruined my flat and made me learn French. Now I know French. Although I do like Macbeth. We had to do it a lot in school. Like more, we tried to do Othello, but there were no kids that weren't white. So it was problematic. So we couldn't do it. So we did Macbeth again.
That sounds good. Macbeth, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of theories of Shakespeare. I mean, did he actually write all of his stuff? Was it written by someone else? What's going on here? I mean, he was a pretty ugly-looking man, and he did cheat on his wife quite a lot. He was a bit like Floyd Mayweather.
Do you know he had twins, right? He had twins, and one of them was called Hamnet.
Hamnet?
Hamnet was one of his kids. I mean, that's my only actually don't know what his other one was called, but Hamnet stays in my mind. Yeah, it's like if you made Hamlet out of ham. Although they both have ham in.
Maybe, I don't know.
I've gone mad, Marvin. I need to go lie down again. I haven't had my 4 hours lying face down on the floor today.
I can help you out. You can do the heckler's night on Sunday if you want.
I'm so not ready for it. I can be a heckler, but I'm too.
Be a heckler if you want. You can heckle me.
I'm too encouraging. I'll be like, you can do it. Or go back to France. There we are. I've got it. Go back. But that sounds racist.
I would, but I can't afford it yet. And could you pay for it, please?
Fair enough. And then I'll be like, okay. No, I can't. I've got no money. Got no job. But I did find a really nice marble.
Oh, that's enough.
Very good, right? I was like, pretty sure it belongs to one of the kids I look after, but they're not going to know. So it's my marble now.
Don't lose your marbles, all right?
I've just got the one. Just got the one. Keeping my eyes on it before it gets out of control. Well, this has been delightful, if not very strange. I've enjoyed watching part of Tyson Fury on the left-hand side of my screen prepare for stand-up. That's been fun.
Yeah, that's good. Let me know when you find the clip.
Yeah, we'll do.
That'll be it. Have a fun afternoon.
I will do. I'm going to retire into that corner of my abode where there's no mysterious people. So.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
See you
A bientôt. Bonne journée. Bonne journée. Bonne journée. Bonne journée.
Bye.